Did my mic suddenly die?
Bullshit!
Yeah, at least that's working. Get all the sounds. Get everything ready. My camera's still super foggy. My glasses are showing everything. That's not the one I want. It's only at 30 frames. Which is fine. Do 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 do. I don't think that light's too much. But hey, whatever. Guess I'll go downstairs after. Take care of that. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
One, two.
Nope. I hate that you can't even get a good picture anymore nowadays. It's like nothing decent. I mean, I guess I'll just leave it there. Does it really matter? Will that look okay, though? That's the question. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I don't care. And my wife just turned on the microwave, which gave me a whole bunch of lag. A whole bunch. Do 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 do. I'm gonna go check that lag with her. This should work now. One would hope.
It's time for
All right.
bullshit.
All right. Let's get this going. I hit everything.
It's time for BGFG.
Gonads are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Fremo.
Oh, yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day of not going to Duncan, and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now, the two guys that took 2 years to fix their audio problems.
Welcome to BGFG episode 326, which I've entitled Don't Worry, It's Almost Over. Because God knows it's almost over. Oh, 2021 can't be worse. I say that now and I should be knocking on like wood or something. I don't know. So 326 episodes into it. We are staring down the barrel of the last week of Christmas or getting ready for Christmas. Retail is hellacious. But there's a lot of new models coming out. So you'll see a lot of stores and retail stores doing curbside pickup, which I think is the model of the future. It's a great idea. It's like a drive-through, and it can work if you work it correctly. But again, it has to be the employees in the company and the businesses that do this correctly. But it's a strange time. Vaccines are out. That's always really good. Fremo is not here. I'm your host, Chris Fenix, but Fremo is not here this week. He is building his home. He's trying to get things squared away and situated before Christmas. That poor guy. I wish he didn't live so far away so I could help him. But I'm sure thoughts and prayers will always be helpful to anybody in any sort of issue. He's not hurting. He's just, it's tough right now. Being in between homes. It's very difficult. But again, we're going to muddle through and do what we can. I'm hoping that he's going to be on for our Christmas episode and at the very least our yearly highlight or lowlights, whatever you want to call them, of the year, our yearly review and our predictions, which is going to be even funnier because our predictions are going to be not really predictions at all. They're just going to be things we hope happen and hope don't happen. I'm sorry. I swore a little bit there. So as usual, first half of the show, what we do here is the news and information as much as we can. Second half of the show is pretty much, think of this show. This is like the mullet of podcasts. You know, it's business up front, it's a party in the back. So usually when we do a song, that's your time to go pour yourself a drink, light yourself up something, or do whatever you do to unwind. Maybe get into some comfy clothes or something like that. And then we usually have fun. So if you have little kids listening, you definitely don't want them to listen on the other side, but you never can be too sure with this show at all. It depends on how I'm feeling with the particular story, because that sort of thing happens. Without further ado, let's get into this week's news.
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
So first up in this week's news, what we're going to have is there's a thing. See, I work on computers all day, so I spend a lot of time doing updates for computers, Windows updates, things like that. And I can tell you that there's a particular program that just boggles my fucking mind every day. The phone app. It's called Your Phone. It's on Windows. Your Phone. And if you watch when you update through the Microsoft Store, this son of a bitch, it updates like every other day. And it updates for like 40, 50 megabytes. And I don't understand why nor what it's doing. So if even on my window, when I was doing the research for the show, I actually grabbed my iPhone and I saw it doesn't do shit with iPhone. Understandably so, for multiple reasons. But it doesn't. But I don't understand why this app needs so much information. It just does. It doesn't make any sense. Look it up in your own computer. It's Your Phone. It's an app. If you have a Samsung phone, it apparently works great. As you can see, the website that we put in the show notes. Again, everything's in the show notes. If you watch the live stream or if you watch YouTube later, you'll see that I'm pulling up the websites for some of these different things. And it does work with Samsung phones. It syncs the Samsung gallery photos to OneDrive. That could be handy. I get a lot of customers that have a broken phone and want to back up their pictures because they have thousands on them because they never think about backing up. And OneDrive is a good, like iCloud for Apple, OneDrive is a good choice. The cloud is solid now, people. Don't be worried about the cloud. When you're at Christmas functions with family and friends and relatives, tell them not to be afraid of the cloud. The cloud works. It's not going anywhere, and it's very simple to use now. On the iPhone, you use iCloud Backup, and on Samsung, you get Samsung Gallery. On Windows, you have OneDrive. Use them. Also on some Android-based phones, you have Google options, which is Google Drive. Use these. Encourage other people to use these because it's nothing worse than when you break your phone or crack your screen or you have to replace your phone for whatever reason, and I'm going to send it out for you, and I'm letting you know that there is no way that I can back it up for you. You have to do this on your own, but if you send out your phone or if you bring your phone in for a repair, there's a possibility you could lose your data. There's always that possibility, so you should always have a backup. The problem I have with the Your Phone app is, what the hell does it do? It doesn't do anything for an iPhone. Works for Samsung phones just fine. If you want to move files from your Samsung phone to your PC, you have to meet a certain criteria. It's not just global. It's certain phones with certain operating systems. Again, geeky-wise, you'll understand why. Non-geeky-wise, to the normal average person on the street, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that? I have to buy a different phone to back my stuff up? That's not fair. And it's always updating. I don't understand why it's fucking updating. It doesn't make any sense. Every time Microsoft tries to do something Apple-esque. Now, I say Apple-esque because, yes, as Fremo will make fun of me often, I am an Apple fan. I live in both worlds. I have to work on PCs, and I have a PC. I have a 49-inch monitor on my PC I use for gaming. I use for production. I'm recording this on here now because my Mac is out of commission until February. So I love Apple computers, and Apple has a very synergistic way of synchronizing everything, and it's very, very efficient. With a little bit of tweaks right there, you can get it to do exactly what you want. You'll always have your stuff backed up, and you won't even know it. No other product that I've seen does that unless you kind of automate stuff. Apple does it more or less automatically. For instance, if you're not snapping 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 photos and saving them all on your phone forever, then iCloud's constantly updating. Every time you have your iPhone on its charger or charging, and it's in sleep mode, it will start backing up to iCloud. This is great. If you lose your phone, break your phone, whatever, you pull it down from iCloud, all your stuff is back there. Samsung, I'm not familiar too much with Android, but I know Android has Google systems in it as well as Samsung's own system, but it's convoluted. It's hard to get to a lot of times. It's not an automated process, and I think a lot of customers get confused with that. I don't understand why. Again, Microsoft tries to be like that. They try to do it with their Office applications. They try to do it with OneDrive in a lot of ways. All of this stuff is good, but Microsoft keeps falling on their face. Apple makes mistakes, but not as big as Microsoft. And as for this phone app, it really doesn't do a whole lot. You can do messages. You can somewhat take notifications. Photos will supposedly stream through. I have the site. Look at the site. See what it does. If you're Microsoft eccentric or everything in your life revolves around Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Edge and OneNote, which I think is halfway decent, all of these things, again, they're all trying to work seamlessly with each other, which is great. That's what Apple does, and Apple nailed it. I think Microsoft is not nailing it. I would love to have a Samsung phone, and I've often talked to the financial advisor at BGFG or Phoenix Media Group, and I've been shot down numerous times to get myself a little Samsung phone just to see, or an Android-specific phone, just to see how any of this stuff works. I've also been shot down for my Chrome OS, my Chromebooks. Chromebooks are really good, too. So, again, that's the problem with the page. The thing that's making me nervous, though, is why can't I uninstall it? So I tried to uninstall it because I don't need it. I have an iPhone. There's no need for me to have this. And it continuously updates. What are they looking for? And if you go to the actual support page, it says your phone app is deeply integrated into Windows to light up multiple cross-device experiences now and in the future. In order to build more of these experiences between phones, PCs, and other devices, the app can't be uninstalled. What the hell do you mean the app can't be uninstalled? Why not? And what do you mean by deeply integrated into Windows? Why? Multiple cross-device experiences? With what? I'm on a PC. I'm on my computer. I'm using my computer. If you're not talking to my phone, what the hell other integration do you need that I can't uninstall you? I'm calling shenanigans on this. I am definitely calling shenanigans. This is definitely some next level. Yeah. I'm telling you. Mark my words. Somebody's going to come out at one point and say something. Microsoft has we've covered it so many times on the show that Microsoft has their hands in so many different friggin' things, with especially government. They don't seem to have to fall under anybody's look, I can get into it all day long. But Microsoft's being involved in all these different things, and you have to start worrying about your data and stuff. And again, I wish Freemo was here because he would be busting my chops. Apple is secure. Look, say what you want. I get it a lot at work. I get, oh, my phone's been hacked. No, it hasn't. iPhones cannot be hacked. Say what you want. And I've heard all this, especially in the past couple of days, talking to friends and stuff about stuff we're going to be putting on the show. Oh, yeah, Apple's can absolutely get hacked. No, hackers are looking toward Apple's more often now because it's a bigger market share. There's more of them coming out. People are using them more, and they're harder to hack and circumvent. That's on Apple. And Apple, I would like to believe that Apple's been ahead of the curve on this because they know that it's inevitable. It's going to happen to them eventually. So I think they're ahead of the game. But one of the things you can be sure of is that your iPhone cannot get hacked. The NSA cannot get into the phones. The incident that happened in Florida, the government or the NSA, CIA type FBI asked Apple for the information from the shooter's phone or an unlock. Apple provided them with everything in the phone, multiple profiles, multiple accounts, every piece of information, phone numbers, contacts, messages, emails, everything in the phone, everything. They just would not provide them an unlock code, a universal unlock code, or a way to break into a phone, because this is going to be used over and over again. Is the theory behind it is that it's going to be used for good, anti-terrorism, things like that. That is absolutely true. But what happens about that one asshole that I don't know, spent too much money in Vegas or has a problem at home, or God forbid his loved one is sick. Their loved one is sick and they need to pay for medical expenses. If you can get 50 grand, 100 grand from just giving somebody an app on a USB, maybe you do it, maybe you don't. I don't know. But Apple keeps trying to keep everybody safe. And one of the things that they're trying to keep people safe about, which I think is really good, is app tracking. There's a lot of companies that are pissed off about this. Facebook, our loving Facebook, is one of those people that are extremely pissed off. In iOS 14 on iPad and iPhone, iPad, mostly iPhone, there is an alert that's going to be coming up as soon as it's going to be in one of the updates because they had to tweak it. In iOS 14, they're going to be doing app tracking transparency. So what's going to happen is when you fire up an app, it's going to come up and say, hey, this app would like permission to track you across apps and websites and multiple platforms. And you can either allow it or you can ask the app not to track. Now, this can be a problem. It's a good idea because now you can stop different apps, WhatsApp, Facebook, ironically, they're both owned by the same company. You can ask them, YouTube, you can ask them to not track you. Now, the good in this is that nobody's tracking you. The bad in this is that now when you go to different websites, they're not going to make recommendations that you might be used to. Some apps, they're very few now because of litigation and security reasons. A lot of apps used to just basically take that information and make lists, aggregated lists for you. So you can go to a website, say if I made a web app that said, pick a topic and find the things you're most liked, the things you like the most in. So say if it's Xbox controllers, you've been looking at a lot of those and you want to get custom ones. This app an app I would create would pull up, when you open it, it give you a list. If you put in game controllers, it'll give you a list of all the type of things that you like. Or, hey, what would you like to look for today? It's an aggregator. It can be used for that. That's good. But in the bad, you get, I don't hate to. I love to say it. This is like Facebook. Facebook's not happy about that. Apple says they're too concerned about being tracked without consent and having their information bundled and resold to the partners. And that's exactly how Facebook, WhatsApp, this is how they make money. So whenever you think that you're not being tracked or anything on social media, you're sadly mistaken. Even Twitter does it. I like Twitter, but even Twitter does it to a point. Nobody does it on the level that Facebook does. Nobody. Facebook and all of their properties track you unbelievably. They get access to everything. Well, as soon as you hit OK, it's unlimited access. And the worst part is it's access to the third-party companies as well. Ad companies that mask themselves as gaming companies, as well as several big companies, are not happy about this. Because, again, those little stupid games and stuff, a lot of times that you get that aren't vetted properly, they're tracking you as well. Facebook games especially are tracking you as well. This is how Facebook makes their money. They make their money on ads. That's it. So the fact that this tracking is coming up, they're saying that they're going to lose a boatload of money, and rightfully so. I'm sorry, but that's just the nature of the business. If you have if you're a person that doesn't mind all the tracking, you don't care, then you're going to hit allow. And I guarantee you that Facebook is going to make all of their apps and all of their properties, basically, and anybody else that's not happy about this, break certain features in the app or the game because you're blocking tracking. They're going to say simply like this piece of this game or Facebook, your ability to share something, I guess, would not be allowed anymore because you block tracking. So you can't share a Facebook post anymore, and that's going to break it for a lot of the users. It's just, I think that's Facebook cutting off their nose to spite their face. You're already stopping the tracking. Well, lower your tracking standards. Or figure out another way. People are still going to use the app. People, older people that I see, just about everybody, are going to use Facebook anyway because that's what they're used to. So just if they block tracking, they should still be able to use the product. And if your product relies so much on tracking as a business or taking people's information and selling people's information to that third party, read the EULA on Facebook. We've said it here on the show multiple times. Read the EULA on Facebook. The EULA clearly states that they're going to share all of your information, which is a lot. It's not just your name and phone number. They grab everything, and they're going to share everything, including all the stuff that you have on Facebook, with all their third-party friends. And the third-party friends don't necessarily have the same protocols and restrictions in place that Facebook might have. And Facebook's are loose enough. And you're going to hand it to a third-party company that might not even do those? That's really, really not good. Not good at all. It's a bad business plan, and I don't. If your business relies, I mean, look, the pandemic has hurt a lot of people, a lot of different businesses. But everybody's figured out a way to kind of do it. Even martial arts, our dojo, we figured out a way to do it with social distancing and masks on and doing different types of workouts. Not necessarily workouts, but again, it's martial arts, so different type of kata and movements and things like that to try to protect everybody a little bit. Everybody's using hand sanitizer. Everybody checks their temperature when they come in. Everybody's spaced out properly. But that's the way you do it. And other businesses are doing the same thing. If your business relies solely on that, that's not good. Another example is movie theaters. Movie theaters are definitely making, I think, a better move. So Warner Brothers announced that their entire 2021 film slate, including Dune, Matrix, are going to appear on HBO Max and in theaters at the same time. This is revolutionary. Nobody's done this before. Now, I shouldn't say nobody's done it before. Disney did it with Mulan, and it was okay. It came onto a Disney app, so you would download Disney app, which is a brilliant idea. And then when you download the Disney app, unfortunately, you had to pay an additional $30 to see Mulan on same day. I believe Trolls was another one that the Trolls movie was released on, I want to say Disney Plus. I don't remember if there was a fee or not because I wasn't interested in the movie, neither were any of my kids. So we didn't really get that. But Mulan, it was at $30. And in 3 months, it was free and it was already on there, so you just kind of waited. Wonder Woman's the big one this year. Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be on the streaming service on Christmas Day on HBO Max. Now, even if you charge $30, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a home run because everybody's going to be home or they're going to be done with their holidays. They're going to come home at night and Christmas Day at night when they're relaxing and enjoying their gifts and their new comfies and slippers and stuff. They're going to pop this on. Now, if it's free, great. It's part of your subscription. If it's not, then you're going to pay a premium. So I'll pay $30 to see it same day. I don't know. Wonder Woman, possibly. Matrix, most likely. Some of the other ones, I'm not really sure. There's going to be a good amount. So, again, this is the future. And I like it. You know, Apple and the WWE Network have spent much of their time building digital landscapes that we see today, the apps. And, you know, look at wrestling. WWE created the Thunderdome concept. It's the ring, it's a building, and they put screens all the way around with people that can sign up, and then you use your webcam and you sit there and you can watch the feed. What makes this good is that you still have somewhat of a live audience. I don't know if they figured out how to do audio yet through it, but you still have somewhat of a live audience with people that are on webcams all around the arena. So everybody is watching. It might be slightly delayed. Like I said, it might not have great audio or the audio hasn't been pumped in yet. But this also gives wrestling, pro wrestling, the advantage of being able to record stuff, be able to do edits, because everybody that's watching, they think they're watching the live feed on the ring, but what they're watching is actually a recording. They're watching the feed. It's a brilliant idea. It's great for professional wrestling. On the Apple side, Apple kind of created their app and then did the Apple, what was it, Apple TV Plus or whatever it is, but they actually have a studio for themselves. And, you know, they're doing a lot of breakthrough things and a lot of integration to help. And the pandemic throughout the country has helped a lot of these companies succeed. And I think this is going to change the industry forever. So Apple has their exclusive shows and production studio dedicated to those shows. WWE has done this forever, doing their own production. Hulu and Netflix have their own studios, dedicated stuff. Disney took it a step further and released Mulan, like I talked about before. Warner Brothers is going to be doing it next. It's almost like they continuously don't know what they're doing and trying to move things in different directions. Like they'll pull the Batman games off of everything. But then instead of the bottom line is I don't understand why WB does or Warner Brothers doesn't just come out with their own damn app. They have enough properties. They go out their own app, and you can pay a subscription like everybody else does, and it would be great. But I don't understand why they want to do that, but they don't. So they want to put it on to all sorts of different things. Maybe they just don't want the headache. Maybe they don't have the infrastructure. I don't really have all the answers for that. But their entire 2021 film slate is going to be on HBO Max and in theaters at the same time. Now, a lot of movies are going to be part of this. The new Dune movie, which a lot of us geeks are excited about, is going to be there. Matrix 4, Godzilla vs. King Kong, Mortal Kombat, the new Space Jam movie. They're all going to be on. I think this is brilliant. And I think the Wonder Woman 1984 on Christmas Day is really what's going to set the tone. I think if this works, and again, I'm not really sure if it's free or not. If it works, it's a done deal. This is going to be a done deal. If it doesn't work, they're going to have to scramble and figure out something else because they're going to lose a lot of money. HBO paid the residuals, or a lot of times like opening day and the theater run, Gal Gadot will get a whole bunch of money. A bunch of the other actors get their cuts. I believe HBO paid them up front. So HBO kind of paid them off on what the projections would be and paid that off. They'll still get some from video and DVD and rentals and things like that. But for the main, where they make the most of their money, which is release days, they're still going to be getting some money, which is great. Another thing I really like is, again, AMC Theater. I listened to David Pogue, who's a brilliant tech writer. He actually rented the AMC thing. We talked a couple of weeks back about how AMC, you can rent theaters now. So you can rent them from $99 up to $320. Depends on the movie, depends on what you want to watch, the size of the theater, the people, etc. But David Pogue talked about it. He did it. He paid the $99. He went and saw Tenet, I think. Maybe. Well, he went to go see a movie. Doesn't even matter. So he went and paid $99 to sit in AMC. He said they had people on staff that were at the concession stand, so you could still get the concession stuff. You had the theater. You were spaced out properly. They came in and checked on you all the time. You watched the movie you wanted to watch by yourselves. It was really good. He even made the joke that even his kids were so comfortable that they were on their phones like they would be at home, which I thought was great. Now, Regal Cinema's not real happy about the whole Warner Brothers situation, and they're really not happy with any of that, and they might be closing, which is sad. But again, I'm sorry, but I've owned businesses before, and they weren't extremely successful, but they were successful enough. And you do this even on a shoestring budget by not making mistakes, by planning ahead, by taking care of something. For instance, we've talked on the show before that if you're a restaurant and you're upset about the pandemic and about the restrictions that are put in, well, now you take all your wait staff and you gather them all up and you say, look, if you want to be a delivery driver, then you're going to be a delivery driver. That's it. Now, some places aren't going to be the same. If you go to a restaurant to sit down and have a very good Italian dinner, that's not going to translate well to a piece of styrofoam box that's sent to your house. It's just not. And you have to understand that going into it. But at the same time, if I go to my local restaurant or I go down someplace to pick up some takeout, we have a fish and chip place down the street, very popular in the 3 towns around us, and they do very, very good business. They've pretty much put every other fish and chip place out of business in the Northeast over here in this area. They're just good, and they are ridiculously busy. Now, you can do Grubhub and DoorDash, and you can do all those things, but if you have a wait staff that's already there, and you transition them into being delivery drivers, you can still make money. It might not be as much as before, but you can still make money. So when I see companies like AMC or WB thinking ahead and trying to come out with something or another alternative, I think that's great. WWE, I think, is the best example of this. Whether you're a wrestling fan or not, you have to appreciate the fact that this is a company that survives on live entertainment, period. That's their job. It has been since, the 20s or 30s. It's live entertainment. They have to have live people there. That's the way it works. During the earliest parts of the pandemic and the lockdowns, if you watched any professional wrestling, it sucked because these guys were basically, and they've even said it on interviews, it was very difficult. It was like wrestling. It was like practice wrestling. But they had to remember that they were live and they were on TV and they had to do things right. And they still had to perform. Now, when you have a live crowd, you can get away with whispering something in somebody's ear, or you can get away with saying something partially across the ring to get the opponent's attention, to get them going to the next move. And that's how they kind of work the match. But when you're quiet and there's nobody in the audience, that's very difficult to do. And now they've stepped it up again and again and again, with, like I said before, with the Thunderdome. And it's a brilliant piece of business. They are surviving, not making as much money as they were, but they are definitely surviving over their app that they have that has all of their, what we used to call pay-per-views on there, plus a boatload of other entertainment. But then their live shows, they've actually succeeded because now you have people going live. They're not making money at it, but they also don't have to travel. You have one location that you can purchase or rent and just keep doing shows there and broadcasting them out. It's a brilliant idea. It was a great transition. And I think that's what a lot of these big major companies need to do. Retail companies are starting to transition to more curbside pickup. This is going to be the wave of the future. Watch WB. If you're into superhero movies and such, get Wonder Woman 1984. Download the app and get it. I think Disney, I want to say, is like, let's just say $10 a month. It's worth $10 a month. It's Disney. It's got Star Wars. It's got National Geographic. It's got Pixar. It's good stuff. Just rent it and see what happens, because I think this is going to be interesting. They're going to be releasing a lot of stuff. Denzel Washington's The Little Things, Judas and the Black Messiah, the remake of Tom and Jerry, Those Who Wish Me Dead. I mean, there's just a boatload of movies. I just named a few of the popular ones with Matrix 4 and Dune. But there is a lot more stuff that's coming out in WB. I think it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be the wave of the future. All right, so that's enough for the news. Let's get into this week's music. So, staring down the barrel of Christmas this year. Hold on. All right, that should be better. Staring down the barrel of music, Christmas this year. I want to play one of my favorite Christmas songs. There's a lot of Christmas songs and movies that all of us tend to love and look forward to every year. Me and my family personally, Christmas Story, Charlie Brown Christmas on Christmas Eve, Elf, Home Alone. Those are like the go-tos on Christmas Day and stuff. Everybody has stuff that's different. For me and my family, the 12 Pains of Christmas, usually once or twice a year, is funny enough for us. And then we have a lot of classic older ones, the Perry Comos, the Bing Crosbys. We really like those. One of the songs that was newer from 1981 has been a staple for my family for Christmas. And now we want to share it with you. I'm sure you've heard it before. And if you haven't, I'm just unbelievably surprised. It's from the Waitresses. And it's called Christmas Wrapping. So we'll catch you on the other side for some Christmas gifts and our little holiday buy it before it's too late type shit. We'll catch you on the other side.
We're both free. We tried, we said we too, but why are you? You mean you forgot cranberry soup? And suddenly we laughed and laughed, caught on to what was happening. That Christmas magic's brought this tale to a very happy ending.
Oh, the waitresses. That's just some good stuff. So unfortunately, if those viewers that are on, I'm just going to have to step away for a minute. I have a very important phone call I have to take. It's actually Fremo. And I'm going to go talk to him, and I'll be back right afterwards for our second half of the show. Okay. So let's get back to this. And what we'll do is we'll just jump into Christmas. All right, let's get into the Christmas holiday shopping buying guide thing now. All right, so welcome to the BGFG Holiday Buying Guide, which we usually do much longer, and we usually do with a lot of different categories, but not this week. It's just been crazy. Come on, people, it's fucking 2020. It's just a shit storm. It's absolutely just like all you're doing.
Don't look over here.
Nothing to see.
That's our year.
Look at that.
That's our year right there. So first thing I want to do is talk about the shipping things in the holidays, because I get this question actually often, more often than I like to get it, which is when's shipping? And shipping is probably not going to happen right now. So the cutoff, I posted in the links the cutoff dates. You can do next day or early day or same day or multiple day or whatever the hell you want, but there is a cutoff time, and if you want to get it by Christmas, you need to do it like priority, and you need to get that shit out there now. So what I did was I provided in the links to the show notes at bgfgonline.com, I have listed all of the USPS, FedEx, UPS, and their cutoff times for all their deadlines and what you need to do. And a lot of them, I think it was UPS, it was either UPS, no, it was FedEx, had a wonderful graph with the dates on it. So if you wanted it by that certain date, you need to ship it by this date, and you need to ship it this way. Priority, next day, whatever it is. And in some cases, you're going to be paid the premium because you're lazy. One thing I want to note, which I thought was funny, was DHL. What the hell? Fucking DHL. If you go to DHL's website has a picture of a bicycle on it with what looks to be a cool-ass bicycle messenger for DHL. But I don't know if you've ever seen some of these guys that show up at your house when you occasionally... I order stuff from overseas, from Japan, mostly Japan, but other overseas places. I order stuff, and it comes usually from DHL. And they're awful. I mean, these people are barely like I think their only requirement is just to wear a jacket that says DHL on it, a yellow jacket, which most of the times looks like it doesn't fit them at all. Like it was the one that came with the truck. And the truck, of course, is usually a beat-up van. And their packages look like they've been through hell and back, which is true. And again, a lot of times the stuff I order from Japan is like triple, quadruple wrapped, which is pretty cool. It's efficient, for shipping that kind of distances. But again, the holiday shopping guide is up there, so you can actually see the shipping times for the different providers, except for DHL. Feel free to go to their site, though, because it's an absolute shit show. One of the other things that's popular this year that you're going to hear from your kids or grandkids is the video portion stuff, the consoles and the cards. Let me just say, from working in retail right now, I can tell you right now, this is a problem. 2021 needs to be dealt with on this particular case. And what I'm talking about is the scalpers and the bots. These companies, retail companies, private organizations, the manufacturers, they all need to kind of work on this, I think, together. It's atrocious. It's embarrassing, and it's really sad. I know, me personally, I mean, I have 5 kids. 2 of them want a PlayStation 5. Now, conservatives are going to sit there and say, well, why don't you just get one, put it in the living room, and you get a share. You have multiple accounts on it. Everybody can share. The people that say this shit don't have fucking kids. Period. They don't. I'm sorry. You don't, because you wouldn't be saying something that asinine. Yes, you would love for that to happen, and at a very young age, you could probably make that happen. Late teens, preteen, not going to happen. You're going to have fistfights in the middle of your living room. It's going to suck. You're going to get aggravated. You're going to end up ripping the thing out of the wall. You're going to end up throwing it out. It's just not a good time. Not a good time. People using each other's accounts. There's just problems. So you get them individual ones. Yes, it costs you more money, and yes, you work a little bit harder for it. But again, that's just kind of the way technology goes and kind of the way the society goes today. Kids usually have a computer and or a console. Oh, you're rich, you're loaded. No, I'm not. I work my ass off just like every other middle-class fucking person. I'm just trying to provide for my kids the best way I can. This is why a lot of people have credit cards. I don't. I save up. I put money aside for my income tax. I save that, and I build upon that throughout the entire year. That way, when Christmas comes, I'm not getting into my monthly stash or my monthly payments and stuff. So try it for 2021 because 2020 sucks ass. But back to what I was saying, the console's just not available. You can probably get an Xbox easier than a PlayStation 5, but you're not getting a PlayStation 5. Are they out there? Abso-friggin-lutely. Check eBay. But the problem is that a lot of times, even at a Target or a Best Buy or a GameStop, you go to their website or Amazon, you go to their website and you might get an alert on Twitter or Twitch or someplace else that they're going up at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, Best Buy is going to have PlayStation 5s. Okay. My wife and I have done this 100 times in the past month. Since the launch, since the announcement, we sit there and you go, and if you keep refreshing the page, occasionally you might get it in stock. You click on it. We've gotten as far as the next page, and then it errors out or the page crashes. A lot of times, this is because bots are getting in there and bots are going in. What a bot is designed to do is to get there before you, using nano transactions or nano protocols, nano transactions. Way faster than you ever could. And they're dialing in specifically to a closer node. And this is a whole nother show itself as to where your nodes. For instance, if a company resides in Kentucky or St. Louis, Missouri, that company relies in their main headquarters in St. Louis. What they'll do is they'll VPN to a server that's closest in hops. So if you were going from here to California, that might be 6 hops. It goes to 6 different locations before it gets to that. You don't see it and you don't even know it. They're just relay stations, more or less. It might take 6 hops. If I can make 2 hops, I'm going to get there 2 hops quicker than you will. So what they do is they use a VPN. They use a bot. They use a VPN to get closest to the target. And then they use that to get access as quickly as possible. And they flood with access. In fact, so much so that a friend of mine at work, it was actually online right next to me, doing it on his phone, and then he got accused of being a bot because he hit refresh too many times or too quickly or whatever. And they bounced him out. So he couldn't even get one. So it's been an actual shit show. As for the video cards, I've seen a couple of 30 series cards come in to where I work. They were already pre-ordered. I haven't seen any for the floor at all, and I have never seen an AMD card ever in any of the stores I've been to, the stores I work at. Never have I seen any ever. So I don't know what's going on with those either, but I can tell you that when it comes to the eBay scalping concept, it's pretty much bullshit. It really is. I'm going to call it right here.
Bullshit.
Because you're going on there, you're getting these using a bot, you're putting them on there, you're trying to charge a premium. The average, I think, is $1,200. And a lot of them are selling, which is very sad, because the more that sell, the more it's going to be accepted practice. And that's just plain wrong. What I do like is that, again, the hacker community steps up and goes, nah, I'm not going to let that. So they created some bots. This is why on eBay you see some of the PlayStations and such, you see them like for $62,000, because what they do is there's many of them, and what these bots do is they bid on it, and they just keep cranking up the bid. They're made with bogus accounts, though. So they keep cranking up the bid, and then another bot will come along and try to fight it, and they'll just keep cranking them up, and they'll have a limit on it, so it seems realistic, and it's not a bot, so it doesn't automatically trigger, because all these companies have triggers. But you have to do something really stupid, like leave it wide open. Oh, I'm going to maximize it. How many hits do you want to make per minute? What's the highest it can go to? 1,000. I really want this. No, because then the algorithm for that company is going to pin you as a bot super quick and kick you off. So it's very much a cat and mouse game. But these guys on eBay are just firing it right up. That's why you see those ridiculously expensive ones. And the other thing that sucks is the people that don't read descriptions. You're so consumed with getting your kid the PlayStation 5 as a must-have gift that you're not even looking at the descriptions. People are literally selling the box. They bought one, they got one themselves, they're enjoying it, and they're selling the box. And they clearly say in the description, this is not a PlayStation 5. This is the box for the PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5 not included. And they're selling them for like $700. I'm sorry. A fool and his money are soon parted. That's what I say. So when it comes to any one of these things, the PlayStation 5, the Xbox, especially in this last week before Christmas, the PlayStation 5, the Xbox, NVIDIA, 30 series cards, that's the 3060, 3070, 3080. In fact, even the 20 series now are going out. And the AMD video cards. Any of these things that any of your loved ones or you yourself want, just don't even bother. If you're lucky you see them, then great. I don't know. There's also rumors on the internet that there's going to be this big push this week of like next day air of shipments of pallets of these things going to stores. I do not see that happening because it would already be in the supply chain. So I want to put that rumor to rest. I don't see that happening. They would have to be already be in the supply chain. They would have to be in there like weeks ago in order to get down to each individual store. There are leaks going to happen. If your corporate store got 14 pallets of PlayStation 5s, they have to separate those throughout the stores throughout the country and then ship them to the stores throughout the country, which means each store is going to get 3 or 4. So were they available for Christmas? Yes, absolutely, they were available for Christmas. Did you get one? No. they ain't rolling around with an entire aisle. That ain't happening, though it should. So if you're planning on getting one of those, just don't. Just put all your eggs in another basket because it's not going to happen unless you want to pay that premium, and I don't see a point in paying that premium. So let's get into some other stuff that you can get. One of the things I really like this year, a lot of people got into the new phone, the new iPhone. And the new iPhone, what I really like about the new iPhone is the MagSafe on the back. So it's a circle on the back where the charger is. Well, it is the charger. That is a circle. On the phone, it's actually a circle. And this is magnetic. So you can actually just, like the watch does, and if you've ever tried one of the watches, it's magnetically locked into the charger. It's that. And it's very cool. This opens up a lot of possibilities. This opens up to adapters for your car so that you can just rest it in your car and it's not going to move. On your wall. Depends on what you want to do. The stronger or the bigger the magnet and the safer it is for the phone, the bigger unit you can use. Say, for instance, the iPad. Maybe you're cooking and there's an arm that you can buy with a MagSafe end that you can just put the iPad on while you're cooking and have all your information right there for your recipe. That's brilliant. I do like it a lot, and I do talk about it twice during the picks because there's so many iPhones out there. So the iPhones with MagSafe, one of the popular things is a wallet. Again, as much as if you're listening to the show and you're an older person, you might still carry that gigantic wallet. I really hope you don't carry it in your back pocket. You could hurt yourself. That thing's massive. There's a couple of guys I work with that do that, and I don't get it. Or you might carry a slim wallet. I have a very slim wallet that has 2 or 3 credit cards and a money clip attached to it. I like that. That's very convenient. But in the digital age, you really kind of don't need that anymore. You just don't. You can pay with Apple Pay. You can pay with a bunch of different ways. You might need to carry your license and a credit card. That's really all it is. So with the MagSafe, with the magnet on the back of the new iPhone, you could put a wallet. Apple makes a wallet that's, of course, expensive. That's just basically 2 flaps of leather with a magnet. This company actually made a slightly different one, which I really, really like. I do like the idea of a magnet on the back because it has so many different adaptions, but I think the way they did this wallet is very unique to them. Theirs is $50. Apple's is $50. This one's $30. It's made by a company called Moft, M-O-F-T. You can look at them up at moft.com. And it holds 3 cards like the Apple, but this one allows you to use it as a stand, which allows you 3 different directions: portrait, landscape, and float, which is very much like their like the iPad Magic Keyboard. And the float concept, I can say, is very cool. But if you hold something in horizontal position and float it, It's very cool on your desk. It is really cool, and it's great for watching videos if you wanted to, or even streaming. If you wanted to stream BGFG, say, for instance, or one of our stick-style gaming broadcasts. I'm just saying, putting that out there. But Moft makes this wonderful wallet that has these 3 different positions, so you can actually position your phone however you see fit. It's really nice. I really like it. And at $30, it's really not that bad. It's really good. The other thing I wanted to talk about was gifts for kids this week. So the gift for kids, the link that I used, if you have grandkids, nephews, nieces, anything like that, this I love it. It's from USA Today, but it is a great lift. It's 60 gifts that kids actually want. Whether they want it or not, I think it's more of what we want to get them, especially at a young age. So, like for instance, one of the things on here, which I thought was brilliant, because I love to read as a kid, and one of my kids likes to read. So this is a good idea. We're actually thinking about doing this, but I don't think he reads that quick in order to do this. So it's a monthly book subscription. So every month he can pick another book and get a subscription and get the book. I think it's really cool. And they have it for all sorts of different kids. Kids that are learning to count. I love the way it's labeled. For kids that are crawling. For kids who are beginning building. These are great, and this is where you get that. You see kids, look, all of us have nieces, nephews. Some of us even have grandkids, and you want to teach them how to count, but what do you get them? We had stuff when we were kids, but you don't necessarily have that stuff still available to us now. So you have to find an alternative. And this is a great list of alternatives. Kids are crawling pullback vehicles. That way they have to crawl and get them again. But you can't. It's hard to find those sometimes. You spend your time walking around Toys R Us nonstop. Even if you still wanted to do that, you can still go to this website. You can get an idea of what you want for that child of that age. Kids who miss the playground and they have a bigger house or a good-sized yard. There's these blow-up type things. There's just a lot of good ideas on here. And there's a lot of ones that are definitely going to piss off the parent you give them to, which is my personal favorite. My brothers and I do that, and you just get, my aunt used to get, piss off my father. My aunt would get me drum sets, trumpets, xylophones, anything that made noise, she got me. It was so awesome for me. It was shitty for my father. And when I saw my brother do that to me one year, years and years ago, I was like, oh, I see what we're doing here. And you'll see things on here like gift for toddlers, a bowling set. Nothing screams that like the bowling set, because that's just going to piss off everybody. Moving on. For the geeks out there, which I think is really cool, is a Mac Mini. So the reason why I bring up the Mac Mini this time around is because a lot of people are talking about computers and what to get, and they're not really sure of what to get. The Mac Mini is a good idea, and because Fremo's not here, I'm going to try to sell people on Apple. So the Mac Mini is probably the best computer for $700, let's say, that you can get, I believe. And the reason why is because with the new M1 chip, it is stupid fast. I mean, it is fast. And the whole misconception everybody says of, oh, programs don't run or this doesn't run is all just bullshit at this point. It's just complete bullshit. And if Fremo's here, I'm sure I'd be bullshit. I'd be wearing that button out. That sound effect would be worn out by now. The Mac Mini is a little tiny square. You bring your own keyboard, mouse, and monitor. All that you need is built into this thing. And I've been using it. The one that I was talking about earlier when I said that we were recording on a PC and my Mac is out of commission because I need a new one. My old Mac Mini is a 2011, and it has been producing the show for 10 years. It has done its time, and it still chugs along. It still is basically the server for my entire house. It serves up all of our iTunes stuff to all of our Apple TVs. It is a brilliant device, and it lasts friggin' forever. I don't know anybody that's ever complained about a Mac Mini, ever, that owns one. You can complain about the iMac. Things go wrong. It's too thin. It's getting too hot. Or any one of the laptops, 100 different things can happen, from broken screens to cables that are inside. Not the Mac Mini. It just runs. It just does what it's supposed to every time, all the time. So for $699, and then you can go from there, this M1 chip is ridiculously fast. And this has been a long time coming. So to give you a little bit of history, when I first got into Apple, they were using the Motorola chips, the PowerPC chips, and they were starting to show their age. Even when I was getting into it, they were starting to slow down because Intel had come out with the Pentium processor, and the Pentium was faster, and the PowerPC just couldn't keep up. And then there was like I think it was the 3 gigahertz speed that I think it was 3 gigahertz that PowerPC could not get past, and Apple wanted to move past that, and which is why they jumped into the Intel. Maybe it was 2 gigahertz. But what makes this great is that with the Intel chips that Apple's been using for a long time, or since that time, since the 90s, you had on the Intel, you had to have a separate chip for the processor, graphics, the RAM, the controllers, and all this other stuff. Now with the M1 chip that's on the new Apples, it's all on one chip. It's extremely efficient, and it's very, very fast. And it starts at $700. And that's not a big deal. I mean, the only downfall right now for it is that you're limited as to how much RAM the chipset holds. So I'm sure they're going to be coming out with an M2 and M3 and just building upon this, but this is like the first series of it. And it's really fast, and it's really inexpensive. And you're going to get pretty much the same thing you're going to get from an HP or a Dell. So if you have somebody, and they're really easy, it's not crazy, like hard to learn or anything. It's pretty much self-sufficient. Apple operating systems are very, very easy to use. Very easy. This whole misconception of I don't need to know that, I don't know anything about this thing. 5 minutes with somebody that's used one, or watching a video or something, or even playing around with it. I mean, it's one of the only computer operating systems I've ever seen that you can actually just touch things and click on things and go, oh, okay, yeah, that's what that does. You can't really damage it. It's a great machine. And for that kind of money, come on, it's a no-brainer. If your parents are, their computers like ancient and it's been breaking, or they have it being repaired right now, Mac Mini is a great idea. They can use their keyboard, monitor, or mouse that they already have. They can use it. They don't need to buy an Apple branded one. It would help. There's one key on there that they can use that helps with a lot of different things. But for the most part, they can use any keyboard they wanted to, and any mouse they wanted to, and any monitor they wanted to. It's got an HDMI port on the back. It's got Thunderbolt. It's got USB-A. It's got USB-C. They're going to be covered. It's really a good machine for the price. And we were talking about MagSafes before. One of the other things I wanted to bring up was the MagSafe Duo charging. Apple finally, more or less, came out with it. And it's really, I think we were talking about the Apple ecosystem and how I have an Apple phone and I have an Apple Watch, and they do synchronize well, and they work very, 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 very well together. Again, if you have friends and loved ones, this is a great, inexpensive, nice gift that you can get. Look for dual chargers. And I say that because we all need chargers, and all of us that have them. This is the Apple MagSafe, so this is officially from Apple. Yeah. It's $129, and it will do a phone, one of the newer phones, and it will do a watch. So most people that have the watch have the phone, and most people that have the phone eventually get a watch. This is a great charger for it. I mean, it's a really nice charger. It is a little bit expensive. You can find other ones. If you go to Amazon or your local retail outlet, there is always going to be choices of dual chargers. Amazon has hundreds of them, dual chargers. Now, are they official? No. Should you go with official? Yeah, you should. I mean, I work in the industry, so I can tell you that people that just plug in any charger can damage their devices. It can happen. Sorry. It's just a fact of life. You might be able to do a quick charge to get enough to do something, but you shouldn't prolong that. It's going to do damage if it hasn't done it already. And let's see. Last on the list is something I thought that was pretty cool, which is I want to say Rii. It's RII. Rii or Rii or Rii. I saw these a long time ago, and I had no idea where they went to. So I've always asked or always wanted a keyboard on my remote control for whether it was Cox Cable or Netflix or Hulu or anything else. I wanted a keyboard on my controller. And for a while at one of the big box places, there was a controller. I think it was by Logitech. That was a keyboard on the back and normal on the front. And it just disappeared like so many other things like that. This is the company that makes a shit ton of them. So I put a link in the show notes, and these prices are not too bad. I mean, you're talking like $40, $30, $20. The prices are good. I think the highest one is this keyboard right here, which is a computer keyboard. I think it's a gaming keyboard for $90. But there is so many different things. If you are a chat person, or maybe you like to do watch-alongs and you just want to chat with that person, or whatever it is, they've got you covered. They've got wireless keyboards you can keep near the couch with a keyboard, a mouse, and trackpads on it. I mean, it's really nice. And my personal favorite is the objects like the MX6, which is a remote control with a keyboard attached to it. Now, I say this because I have an Apple TV, which you've heard here on the show before, that I absolutely adore and love my Apple TV. But the Apple TV remote is friggin' awful. It is absolutely awful. I am embarrassed for Apple for this controller. It's that bad. It's tiny. It's really fucking tiny. I bought rubber guards, bright colored rubber guards around it just so that we don't lose it. Really, that's the only reason why I bought these stupid things. It's so I don't lose it. If you are living by yourself, hey, God bless you. Have a coffee table. Put it on the coffee table in between you and the television. Bob's your uncle. You'll never have a problem. But I have kids. I have family. Small dog. We toss around the remote to each other and stuff. It's tiny. It will fall quickly in between cracks of cushions. And it's dark and it's black and you'll never see it. It's just not good. The original Apple TV was smaller, which was even worse, but it was white. It was bright white, so you would see it from a distance. This one is black and extremely slim, and you can't find it anywhere. It's just really awful. For everything from the way the controller works, it's a lot of touch and sweeps and top of the button, bottom of the button. It's just a pain in the ass. It really is an absolute pain in the ass. And I would love to get another remote that does the same features and even has a keyboard, because when you're using it, you're using the sweeping motion to get your keyboard going on here. It's really not a good design from Apple. It's sad because Apple TV itself is brilliant, and I've been waiting for a remote to come out, a secondary remote. Unfortunately, all the ones that I keep clicking on here will work for pretty much everything except an Apple TV. So if you have almost anything else, Roku, if you have a Amazon Fire Stick, it'll work with those. It'll work with an Xbox. Some of these will work with PlayStation and Xbox and PC. It does. But as you look at some of these, you're going to be amazed. Like I'm looking at the MX3, which is $27. Okay? And it already says it works for a home theater PC or HTPC, Windows, Mac OS, PlayStation 3, which most likely is possibly PlayStation 4, Android. This one is exactly what I'm talking about. One side is pretty much what you would see, I would guess, like the PlayStation controller or your cable box controller. That size, all those buttons. And then on the flip side is a concave piece is the keyboard. Brilliant. That's all I want. I want a damn keyboard with it. And they have so many different models. They have controllers. They have individual computer mice. They have wireless keyboard with trackpads on them for sitting on the couch. I mean, what a great site. They even have a tennis racket, the electric tennis racket for your flies. A lot of cool stuff in here. Just good stuff and cheap money. So those are also good ideas for the single person at home or your 20-something that just moved out. They do a lot of keyboard jockeying and stuff. It's a cool controller. Take a look. See if it's something that would appeal to them and something that they could use. Who knows? That's it for this show. I don't know if I'll have one before Christmas or on Christmas or at Christmas. I'm trying to get Freemo freed up and some decent Wi-Fi so you can jump on and we can just at least say have season's greetings. But for now, the next time you'll hear my voice is hopefully in 2021. So I want to thank everybody that joined this year, that has listened this year. The only thing I would ask as a New Year's wish and as a Christmas wish is just share the show. It might seem in this past pandemic, it might seem like the show dragged a little bit and went down a little bit and we weren't as frequent. And Freemo hasn't been here, but that's just because of just the way life is going right now, and it's going to get better. And as it gets better, he'll be back on. We'll be doing the same old show that you'll hear in some of the older podcasts. You can find us at bgfgonline.com. And share us with a friend. Follow us. Subscribe. Leave feedback. Tell me how awful I am. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I just enjoy doing this. I've been doing this so damn long. It's just an outlet for me at this point. I want to thank everybody else that comes and listens and follows us on Stick Style and gets interested in the little side projects that I do here and there and listen to all the different BS and shows that we do. We appreciate you tremendously. Thank you so much. And just remember that things are going to get better. They probably can't get worse, but I don't want to say that, but they might not get worse, but they're going to get better. And every little issue that you may have, everybody has their issues. And everybody's issues are important to them. Whatever's bothering you right now, it's going to get better. You have to believe in that, or else all hope is gone. So believe that there's a change coming for whatever's going on in your life. Thank you very much for listening to BGFG and following all of Phoenix Media Group. Have a great holiday. Enjoy the holiday. It's been a shitty year. Welcome in the new year. Thank you.
So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.